My dress up mid my ass! This is a bit of a strange topic for this channel, because so far I've kinda only talked about the vidicams and YouTube series in my life that have made me feel the feelings. But believe it or not, I enjoy other forms of media as well, and they also make me feel the feelings, like anime. Now, if you're wondering if this is the start of Superior's descent into anime madness and you're slightly worried that he's only gonna make videos about it from now on, don't worry. This won't be happening too much because I don't really love anime as a medium. I have a lot of gripes with it in general. For example, I don't like how most characters sound like they're trying to get a piece of slightly below average quality steak out of their throats all the time. Anime is not funny, like, at all to me, and I'm also not a fan of the over-excessive fan service some of these shows have, because when watching a show, I'd rather feel happy than horny. This is probably the reason why all the anime I've watched and liked so far in my life try to defy these tropes in some way. The shows I enjoy either take these tropes to such stupid extremes that you can't help but love them, like all of JoJo, or mostly just lack these tropes, like Attack on Titan. So with that in mind, I don't think you'll believe me when I say that even though the show has a lot of things in it that I dislike about anime, My Dress Up Darling has become one of my favorite shows of all time. My Dress Up Darling is a slice-of-life anime revolving around Wakana Gojo, a lonely high school student whose main passion and interest in life is making Hina dolls, these dolls representing the Imperial House of Japan that are used in Japan for decorative and praying purposes at a yearly festival. Praying to these dolls is supposed to bring young girls a good future and health. It's quite an unusual hobby for a high school boy, and a fairly traditionally feminine one as well. I mean, you can translate the day of the Hina doll festival as Girls' Day, so you can see why many lads in their late teens would stray away from something like this. But Gojo doesn't, and in fact he pours his heart and soul into making these dolls, because that's his dream, to become a Hina doll maker. But due to spending all his time working on this passion of his, and therefore having no other interests, Gojo doesn't have any friends until in a fairly generic fashion a girl just so happens to appear in his life, and this girl's name is Marin Kitagawa. Marin is the complete opposite of Gojo. She's extroverted, has a lot of friends, enjoys being open about her passion, and is also completely fine with whatever passion anyone else in her life has. I think you can already see where this is going. So they talk a few times, not really thinking much of it, until Marin catches Gojo in the arts and crafts room making outfits for his Hina dolls. And instead of being disgusted by the idea of non-gender conforming actions from a boy, she gets really excited about the fact that Gojo can actually make clothes, because she too has a passion for something: cosplaying. But unfortunately, she's as bad at making costumes as I am. I'm not very good at it, and begs for Gojo to make an outfit for her. Gojo agrees after seeing how excited she is about the idea of cosplaying, and so with this premise, the show begins. It's a simple beginning to a simple series. After this introduction, we just get to see the two grow closer together whilst living their lives. And I'm already gonna say that if you don't enjoy slice of life series of shows, this isn't gonna change anything for you. It has the same positives and the same negatives as any other slice of life, so if you don't like them in general, this show may not be for you. But thankfully I can eat this shit up all day. You see, I'm the type of person who enjoys playing The Sims and watching day in the life videos. I just enjoy the mundane lives of others, and I can't really explain why. Is it because I'm afraid of making commitments and choices in my actual life and therefore want to get lost in a universe that is literally anywhere else than where I'm in right now because the world is very, very scary? Possibly, but that's not the topic of discussion today. The point is, I enjoy watching the mundane unfold before my eyes. A fancy way of saying nothingness. As long as the people I see living through their lives have something interesting in them, whether it be their personality or hobby. And I must say, these characters check all those boxes for me. But before we can get into that, I think I should get the basic good and bad things out of the way real quick. The animation is really pretty, most of the time. The voice acting is fantastic, both sub and dub. The OP slaps, the ED slaps, the OST. Well, it doesn't particularly slap. It is really good and memorable, which is quite rare in my eyes, but I will admit this is not rave material. The basic stuff is fantastic, but like any other show, there are some issues as well. The pacing can be a bit awkward at times, making things hard to follow, and also the show is extremely horny. I'm not gonna lie, some of it made me a tad bit uncomfortable, but the original English translation of the manga was called Sexy Cosplay Doll, so what the hell did I expect? Also, Japan! Okay, now it's character time. So firstly, there's Gojo. He may be considered a pretty generic protagonist and a plank of wood by some people, but god damn it, this plank of wood is so relatable to me. So Gojo's backstory goes something like this. He enjoys making Hina dolls, as I said before, but due to it being something not many people and especially not many boys do, he gets mocked for it by an unknown girl from her past, making him shy away from getting any friends to discuss his passions with and making him focus only on his hobby. In fact, he's not really open about anything to anyone except his grandpa, but he's unbelievably passionate about making these dolls and wishes he could find somebody to at least tell his interests to, whether it be a customer at the shop he works at or an actual friend that may not care about his interests but is more than happy to listen. And to get sappy right off the bat, the reason I gravitate to Gojo and his backstory so much is because it reminds me of myself. Ever since I laid my eyes on the hellscape that is the internet when I was a toddler and first saw a video made by a real person instead of whatever beings made this shit, I knew I wanted to do that. I wanted to make videos like that too, and that has been my main passion ever since. And whilst making videos is not considered a weird hobby by any means, unlike Gojo's, especially nowadays, due to being bullied for merely existing my entire elementary school life, I, simply put, never had the balls to talk about my interests in content creation to anyone, the very few surface level friends I had, or even my family. And just like Gojo, I quietly continued working on my passion, practicing making videos for years whilst not really having any friends, or at least friends who weren't super judgmental about what I liked. But then in middle school, I actually got a proper friend group and slowly but surely started opening up about my passions, and nowadays I am completely open about what I enjoy and am more than happy to share them, even if it's to the dismay of my friends wanting to talk about something that we all actually have in common. So seeing Gojo go from this reclusive person with no friends and a deep passion get his first real friend who actually accepts him for who he is and lets him have the passions he wants was really gratifying to see, since it reminded me of myself, and now every time I get to see him grow as a person and pursue his passions, all I can think about is, yes, go my boy, achieve those dreams, hell yeah! Gojo's cool is what I'm trying to say here. Then there is of course the character solely responsible for making this show as big as it is, Marin. She's very opposite to Gojo, as I've already said. An extroverted girl who openly shows her passions, is proactive and doesn't crumble in social situations. But just like Gojo, Marin is equally passionate about the things she does, even though she's more interested in the idea of doing these things for the fun of it instead of the more technical side Gojo takes interest in. But even so, she takes her interests seriously and wants to recreate the characters she loves to the best of her abilities. She is a goddamn ray of sunshine and contrasts well with the sometimes fairly sad life of Gojo. In general, these two have such good chemistry. They're both so damn passionate about the things they enjoy and coincidentally can help each other fulfill their goals when it comes to these passions. With Marin being able to get the costume she wants from Gojo, and Gojo being able to learn how to draw Hina doll faces better through doing Marin's makeup. But it's not just a case of two people with similar interests working together, because that's just called being co-workers. They also help each other become better as people. Marin's proactiveness can cause her to get into all kinds of silly situations, like almost fucking drowning, but Gojo's more rational and calm way of thinking slows her down so she makes less decisions she might come to regret. And Marin, with her outgoing personality, helps Gojo become less socially awkward and more open. It's just really nice seeing this relationship grow in the span of 12 episodes from something more resembling a work relationship into a relationship where it feels like both of them can only do good for one another. Also, they're just very fun to look at on screen together. Then there's like the 4 side characters that appear more than once in the series, and whilst they're good too, there's not that much to say about them other than they sure are there. They do bring forth some great moments, but those moments are mostly aimed at the main couple, so yeah, not much to say about them, but they're good too. From what I've explained to you so far, My Dress Up Darling seems like a very basic show with seemingly good characters, yet no real substance behind the show itself. A regular romance story with some nicer moments in the middle of it all. Nothing more, nothing less. And for the first 3 episodes, I thought this way too. But then episode 4 happened. Many people have already talked about the moment in this episode, so I'm sorry if you're hearing this for the 50th time, but how could I not include this? So at the end of episode 3, Marin, not knowing how making clothes works, gives Gojo an unreasonable deadline of 2 weeks to create her first cosplay. And Gojo stresses the hell out over this, since he knows that's not enough time to make a proper outfit, but he also doesn't want to disappoint his first ever friend. And like a rational person, instead of talking about the issue with Marin, he works himself almost almost to death, or at least burnout, but they're basically the same thing for a creative person, and somehow manages to pull it off through sheer willpower. And upon finishing the dress and showing it to Marin, Marin realizes she hadn't fully explained that the 2-week deadline was not an actual deadline. It was just the most recent cosplay event she could find, and she was completely fine with waiting however long it would take for Gojo to finish the outfit. And after realizing this fuck up and seeing Gojo fall onto the ground exhausted but happy about the fact that he has more time to work on the dress now, she starts sobbing and apologizes to Gojo for putting him through all that. There's usually not a moment in any show I watch where I know exactly when I got into it, but this was the moment I realized this show is something special. After seeing all the hard work Gojo put into making this outfit and seeing him question if he could even become the thing he wants to become if he can't even fulfill this one simple wish, the fact that all his efforts didn't devolve into a comedic moment but rather a heartfelt apology was something so satisfying. At this point, the characters, at least for me, started to feel like actual people rather than tropey anime creatures, because that's how you would react, right? Maybe not the whole crying thing, but if somebody worked their ass off for you for weeks, pushing themselves to the point of absolute burnout, if you're a decent human being, you'd be super grateful for the fact that this person poured all their energy into their work just for you. And after this already fantastic moment, it gets even better, since instead of holding a grudge about this for weeks, they both accept their mistakes and move on in a matter of minutes, as Gojo suggests that Marin should put on the outfit to see how it feels. Marin tries the outfit on and it's perfect. Just like this episode. A genuine 10 out of 10. And from this episode forward, I started absolutely loving every single episode, since there are a ton of similar amazing moments sprinkled throughout the show after episode 4. Like Juju saying you are truly magnificent in episode 10, the smile at the end of episode 10, the beach scene at the end of episode 8, and everyone's got a lot going on from episode 9, Gojo saying you were very beautiful from episode 5, the ending of the final episode. There's just so many good moments where this show creates feelings in me I didn't know I could get from a show. Watching My Dress Up Darling has genuinely made me the happiest I've been in years, and I'm not joking. Everything is just so damn wholesome, for the lack of a better word, but mixed within all that, there's some really heartfelt and straight up beautiful moments that made me feel overjoyed. Each episode, I just got happier and happier, being able to go back into this universe to see these two people filling holes in each other's lives whilst having fun doing so. It was fucking cool. It was great. And all this culminated in the final episode, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I did a little cry, a little boo-hoo, a little wah-wah, a little ooh-hoo-hoo, a little ow, my emotions, why must you hurt? Now, I don't usually cry, in general. I'd say I'm an emotional person, but I just don't cry. There aren't that many things in this world that would cause emotions like that to arise in me. But apparently, a show about girls cosplaying is one of those things. More specifically, it was the fireworks scene from the finale. So, in the latter half of the final episode, Gojo and Marin go to a festival near Gojo's house, which he has never attended due to previously not having anyone to go with and wanting to always stay home and work. But now he's finally there, seeing the fireworks live, and it's one of the most beautiful things he's ever seen and one of the prettiest scenes of the whole show. He starts thinking about his past and how every year before this he'd missed out on something like this due to being so introverted. But this year he got to see it, and in fact he got to experience a ton of things he had never experienced before. He thinks about all these experiences and how grateful he is for them, and more so how grateful he is for the person who made these experiences happen. And then, well, I'll just let the scene play out for itself. This scene is what did it for me, because whilst Gojo was thinking about all these experiences, I also thought back to all the previous episodes and all the things they'd done together, and seeing Gojo turn to face Marin whilst the fireworks explode in the background as he realizes just how grateful he is for her and her presence in her life, it was an amazing moment that was made 100 times better because of all that had led up to that point. All of the equally amazing scenes from the previous episodes came flooding back into my head, and thinking of all those things in that moment made me so happy that I didn't know what to do with all the emotions, so I just did a big cry. And that is the first time I've ever cried at a show in my life. But then they stopped the scene from getting way too emotional by having a slightly comedic moment happen in the middle of it, but it fits. Because this show is not all about the emotional moments, even though they do take the spotlight. It doesn't take itself 100% seriously, and that's also something I love about it. Now you may be thinking that I'm going a bit overboard with how intensely and dramatically I'm talking about all of this, but I talked about Pokemon and the guy who made Asta movie with the same amount of passion and intensity. You really think I'm gonna stop at a fucking anime? I love almost every part of this series from the bottom of my heart. The simplistic and cozy nature of the show, the characters, the interactions and emotional beats between these characters, the fantastic music choices for all scenes, the general vibe of the series, it all makes me so goddamn happy I have a hard time expressing it. Also, you know how I've said the word passionate about 20 times during this video? Well, that's because passion and being passionate is one of the main themes of this series. I mean, all it basically does is just follow a bunch of passionate people enjoying whatever they want to do, whether it be Hinata making, cosplaying, or taking pictures. And I love that. I really enjoy seeing people get really excited over things they care about, and I enjoy sharing the things that I love with people as well. It's one of the main reasons this channel and video even exist. And to be able to just see these characters be happy doing what they do in every episode instead of being shot down by someone in their life was really fun to see. It also tries to show you how you should not be scared of showing these passions, no matter how stupid they may seem. And I'm 100% behind this message. Because I believe if you have a passion, no matter how dumb, if it doesn't hurt anyone or yourself or is legal or it's the internet, you have to state the obvious around here, you should absolutely go for it and be as infatuated about it as you want. Whether it be a show, a book series, fucking knitting, whatever. Some may call it cringy, hell, I may call it cringy, but you know what's even worse than that in my opinion? Being too scared to be open about the things you care about because someone may call you dumb on the internet. If your passion makes you genuinely happy, who gives a shit about what other people think? So do whatever it is you want to do, and do it without being scared. That's at least the message I got from the show, and I don't think this message has been shown this well in any piece of media that I've watched before this. It's just so good. It's so good. I can't explain in words just how much I've enjoyed this series, and some of you may still not get how I can be this excited over a series about playing dress up. And to be honest, I don't fully understand either. Maybe it's because I relate to Gojo immensely. Maybe it's because I love the message of not being scared to show off your passion. Maybe it's because I just really enjoy slice of life and never realized it until now. Maybe I just adore these characters. But most likely, it's just all those things put together, innit? Again, this show is not perfect and will probably not change your life, making the title of this video complete clickbait. But hey, you clicked on it, so if you're annoyed about that, feel free to take this L. But even if it's objectively not as good as I'm making it out to be, for me it just hit different, you know? It's genuinely the best thing I've seen in years, it's made me the happiest I've been in years, and it also made me write a script the fastest I've written one in years, so it also gave me some of that juicy content. But yeah, I'm starting to run out of ways to say, show good, I enjoyed, so I think it's about time to wrap things up. If you are interested in the slightest about the show, go watch it. You may not have an experience as strong as I did, but I do think it's a nice and cozy show that people who like slice of life will enjoy. My Dress Up Darling is one of the best shows I've ever seen. Thanks for listening to me rant about this weird infatuation of mine. Thanks for watching, and be yourself. That's what the song says, right? The OP, be myself. Yeah, oh my god, that's Cans. It's a fitting end to the video and a tie back to the series. I'm very good at writing scripts. Okay, I'm done being sappy now. Go away.